What's up, YouTube? Welcome to my review of the Prodigy A3. This one is in 400 series plastic, very unique disc. It's got a really interesting rim profile to it for sure. Big thank you to Michael Gibney from the Prodigy Street Team, the captain of the Prodigy Street Team, for sending me this disc to test and review. You can find his channel in the description below. Big thank you to Prodigy as well. Let's get into the review. So Prodigy, it's an X out, because I think probably based on these couple little black flecks that are embedded in the plastic right there, in front of my pinky there. But really, still a totally gorgeous disc. I love the swirly, kind of cloudy look to the plastic. It's really beautiful, and no problem there at all. Honestly, if I were to keep this, I'd probably just wipe the stamp and just have that really pretty plastic to look at, because it's really nice. 400 series plastic, as referenced down here, 174 A3-4 means 400 series plastic. If you're not familiar with Prodigy stuff, the higher the number, the more unstable the disc is, but for the A series, these are all pretty stable. So even the A3, like this one, still a quite overstable disc for sure, but not as overstable as an A2 or an A1 would be. So yeah, 1 is the most stable, and then it goes, you know, kind of loses stability as it goes up in number. This thing is still plenty overstable disc. So the 400 series plastic feels phenomenal. It's got a great grip, nice flexibility to it. See that huge pop top on this thing. We'll get to that in 1 second. Nice flexibility, great grip and feel in the hand, tremendous plastic type. Prodigy puts out some really great plastic blends. 400 series feels really nice. I like it quite a bit. So let's look at the profile here. You can see the huge pop top dome on this thing. Yeah, that's pretty extensive for sure. Then you can see also the really interesting rim profile. So it's got a big bead. The bead is kind of relatively far away from the edge of the outer rim here, and then it's got that kind of just very unique, kind of maybe gator-ish. I don't know if it owned a gator, but that's all I can really even think of that it might be similar to in profile. But yeah, the bead is pretty apparent when you're holding it. It's quite a sizable bead, and it's not a bad feeling disc in the hand. It's a little strange. I gotta be honest with that. I don't generally prefer the feel of big pop-top domes in my hand when I'm holding it. Just my own kind of personal preference, but it's still a comfortable feeling disc. And the way this one lines up, the fat of your hand kind of rides right there on the downslope of the dome, so it doesn't really bother me at all. I kind of like the feel of it, and the plastic is great. But yeah, it's got a very interesting, kind of unique profile. Let's put it up next to, just out of curiosity, the Innova Commander. This one is yet to be reviewed. But it's this kind of a similar disc, just not as far, just a little bit farther flying, a little faster. But you can see it's a beaded disc that's got that huge pop top on it, and also kind of an interesting, unique rim profile. The Commander has a really funky rim and super unique, unlike most other discs on the market. Full review on that coming soon, but I thought that might be an interesting comparison. Let's talk about the flight of this disc. It doesn't go very far, and it's quite overstable. Even throwing it on Anheuser, it comes all the way back out for me and will finish back to the left. It's not like a total meat hook. You can throw it and get a little bit of a straight flight out of it, but it always has that dramatic fade. So this would be a really nice approach disc for like a nice, just kind of little spike hyzer. Get it to land, dig and stick by the bucket. You can stretch some distance out of it for sure. It's not like a total short range disc. If you had a bigger arm, I imagine you could throw this thing quite powerfully and still just get a very straight flight out of it at that point with a little fade. For me and my arm speed, it's dumping out quite strong every time I throw it. If I throw it on some Anheuser, I can get a relatively straight flight out of it with a gentle finish. If I throw it on a strong Anheuser, it will kind of go right all the way over and still come back and generally finish back to the left at least a little bit, depending on the wind and the release angle and all that stuff. I think honestly this would be really well suited for like a forehand approach disc or a short range forehand disc, especially if you want to be able to throw it pretty flat, or just, you know, a little gentle forehand flick, give that little bit of torque that'll let it stand up a bit and then still kind of finish out to the right. I think this would be a good disc for you to check out. Not a great beginner disc unless you're looking for something that you know you can throw strong. It'll never flip over on you, and it'll always cut around to the left. So just for those wide open, short range, kind of hyzer dump towards the basket, you just want to throw it out there on a hyzer, knowing that you can trust it to dump out and finish towards the bucket. Could be a good disc for you to check out. Ultimately, I think this is better suited for more experienced players, or maybe players that live in windy conditions, windy climates. Could be a real nice approach disc on those windy days if you had to throw it into the wind a little bit, or just trust it to be very consistent and yeah, just do the same thing every time you throw it. That's my review on the Prodigy A3. I'll check you guys later. Cheers.